James chapter 5 and verse 13 instructs, "Is anyone among you suffering? Then he must pray. Is anyone cheerful? He is to sing praises." In the past, I have heard people singing even in public. For some time now, though, I have not heard anyone singing. Welcome to Presentation, Ponder, Practice. As James prescribes, the antidote for falling into the temptation of grumbling against a believer, James chapter 5 and verse 9, is to pray. James 5 verse 13. James asks, "Is anyone among you suffering?" The term for suffering is from the same root word as the noun suffering in verse 10. James speaks of people enduring the suffering of trials according to the patient endurance of suffering prophets. The term he used also goes beyond suffering from external causes or physical circumstances. It includes inward suffering of a person, which includes mental and emotional suffering. Jesus spoke about suffering evil in Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 through 12. He said, "Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Back to James chapter 5 and verse 13. The instruction given is for the suffering believer to pray. The prayer of a believer must be for wisdom, James 1 verse 5, wisdom to handle the problems and strength to overcome the problems. The request should be made wholeheartedly. James chapter 1 and verse 6 explains, "He must ask in faith without any doubting. For the one who doubts is like the surf of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind." If you are suffering, are you praying? By contrast to one suffering, James asks, "Is anyone cheerful?" Cheerful is explained by other words like happy, encouraged, comforted, reassured, or in good spirits. Think about times when you are free from disturbing problems. The term is thus used by Paul in Acts chapter 27, verses 22 and 24, to encourage his companions that they take heart during their immediate danger of shipwreck. Cheerful courage in the face of danger and difficult circumstances fuels worship. The proper action is to sing praises. The same verb is used in other New Testament passages. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 15. Paul said, "I will sing with the Spirit, and I will sing with the mind also." Jesus came to guarantee God's salvation to Jews and Gentiles. Romans chapter 15, verses 8 through 12. Verse 9 reads, "For the Gentiles to glorify God for his mercy. As it is written, therefore I will give praise to you among the Gentiles, and I will sing to your name." Ephesians 5 verse 19 teaches that singing is to be used to encourage each other and to worship God, speaking to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody with your heart to the Lord. Christians can sing praises even in the midst of trials when they are received joyfully, knowing that the trials produce steadfastness. James chapter 1, verse 2 and following. However, James asserts that singing praises is the natural expression of cheerfulness. If you are cheerful, encouraged, in good spirits, are you singing? Are you suffering from problems from the outside? Are you suffering from inward problems? God can handle all of our problems. He can supply us with wisdom to face them and strength to overcome them. God can remove the cause of our problems. When our problems are lifted or removed completely, we ought to praise God cheerfully. But keep God in your thoughts in all circumstances. That's James' point. Pray when things are bad, sing when things are good. Indeed, praise God. May God bless you for remembering Him in all circumstances.